Welcome back to another episode of Tractor Roy. My name is Trent. I've been doing a little cleaning here in the shop. We got some more bolt bins coming and some more of these organizers. And as I'm going through cleaning stuff, I'm finding some of these projects that I've kind of pushed off. Like anybody, you throw it and save it for another day. One of them is this bandsaw. I figure since I'm messing with it now, pulling it out while I'm cleaning stuff up, may as well take the time to get this thing put together, because there's been plenty of times this thing would be very, very handy to have. So it's just it's got wire tie right now. Just one of those typical spring assisted bandsaws. I think it's only horizontal. I don't think this one will be set up as vertical. Anyways, you lift the bandsaw up, you turn it on. The weight of this bandsaw will lower down and cut a nice clean cut on your piece of metal. The spring adjusts the rate of fall, and then once it gets to the end of the stroke, it'll hit that right there, this little switch, and shut off your bandsaw. The issue with this one, it came from a neighbor. He bought a new one from Harbor Freight. It came with the stand. Here's part of the stand here. He bought a new one with the stand. He liked the stand for this one better, so he gave us the new bandsaw stand with the old bandsaw. I think his issue was the motor went out. He put on this fan motor, but it's only a 1/4 to 1/2 horse, so it's too small to run this bandsaw effectively. I've got a couple options. I've got a true 1/2 horse motor, and I have a 3/4 horse. I'm thinking that 1/2 horse is going to be plenty for it. So I'm going to try and get the stand put together, get this thing thrown on the stand, and swap out this motor and see if we can get a working bandsaw. And then I'll throw it under the shelf with all the other tools that I'm cleaning up while I go along here. Wow, these are some terrible standard bolts. Wow, these are the cheesiest 1/4-inch bolts I think I've ever seen. Oh yeah, like a rock. I kind of get the feeling this thing's not very universal. Ooh. What do we got here? 6 inches to the outside. 17 1/4 center to center. It's outside to outside. 17 3/4 from hole to hole on our bandsaw. We are at 17 3/4. Look at that. Oh, they're kind of offset, so I'm gonna have to drill new holes. But, and what did I say? 6 inches? Oh my gosh, this thing's gonna work. That's amazing. Okay. So scratch that. I am going to take off these little brackets and we're just going to set this thing on there without the little adapters. That last one might be a little fun with that spring in the way. Oh, I can get it. I don't know if I can get the new one on, but I can get the old one off. I'm kind of excited. There's been so many times that I could have used this thing. It's kind of comical. I keep just rolling and moving this thing around farther and farther away from where I started just because it's by myself and it's easier that way. And in an effort to make this easier on myself, I probably will just drill into some of this cast to mount this thing up. So we got the old motor off. We got our stand flip, or our bandsaw flip back up. Got everything tightened down on our stand. We got our old motor off. Now we're ready to stick on this new one. This new one's Marathon Electric. It's a it's a little half horse, like I was saying. That other one's a quarter to half horse. I don't know how the range comes across. But anyways, this one's a 110 or 230. This setup is 110 right now because that's all we got in the shop. Oh, I got Gentry helping me here too.
So that got this one.
Okay, can you stick the nut on?
Sure.
It's right there behind you. You don't have to get super tight, just so it won't fall out, because we still got to do some adjusting.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Good job. Okay, now we'll do these ones.
Ready yet?
Okay, now I'm ready.
Good.
Okay, last one. My nut's on there and ready, or my bolts is.
Come on.
So now we have to adjust our motor. Well, not adjust our motor. We have to find the right belt size. On this pulley, this is what drives our bandsaw blade. We have 3 different size pulleys on it. You can change the speed of your bandsaw blade depending on what kind of material you're cutting. So we want to set it. We want to see if we can try and use all 3 speeds. We'll see what happens. So we'll set it to the closest possible one, which should be on our biggest pulley. And then if we were to rock it back, that would be our longest belt, which would go on our shortest pulley. Ideally, if we get one that is good for the shortest pulley, then we should be able to tighten up our motor like that, and our belt should reach this biggest pulley. So the smaller the pulley right here, the slower the belt is going to turn. This is the drive pulley. The bigger this pulley is, the faster that belt's going to turn. It's the opposite with this. The bigger the pulley, the slower it's going to turn. The smaller the pulley, the faster it's going to turn. So we got it set as tight as we can. We'll stick it on the smallest pulley. We should probably run on the middle pulley, my guess, but we'll just have to try. So we've got an old belt off the Farmall A that we cut. This is what I'm going to use as a length checker. We want to get it a little bit wider than that. It doesn't quite fit in either of these pulleys. We can replace this one on the motor. We can probably replace this one on the bandsaw easily enough too, but I'd like to try and use the same ones. So, since we're all the way tight, that's going to be our biggest pulley. Oh my gosh, I'm confusing myself here. Okay, closer, bigger pulley. Should be able to wrap it up like this. Go around with it. Mark our length. To measure belts, you measure the outside, so we need about a 23-inch belt. When these are in a loop form, like our local bomb guards in the belt section has the tool, so when this is intact, it has a radius on each end, and when you stretch it out, it basically accounts for the radius of each end of it, and it takes the length between the two, doubles it, gives you a little chart, tells you how big your belt needs to be. We need a 23-inch belt. Oh, what's the size that we want? We want something around a half inch. A half inch on top. That's probably going to work for us. So we'll make sure to write that down in our handy dandy notebook. We're going to run to Bomb Guards, get the belt for this, get some parts for our compressor over here. It's thawing out. We might be able to get working on that as soon as we get back. So we went and got our belt, half inch 23. They didn't have a 5/8 this short, so hopefully this is going to work. Dang, we could even go smaller. Okay, I think we're going to shoot for the middle one. Well, that's not too bad. We're going to shoot for the middle one. To align it, I'm just going to eyeball this here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, go ahead and tighten them down. Okay, now, watch out, G. We're going to tighten this thing up. We're going to test our motor here before we wire in the switch to it. So it should be off because, oh no, that switch isn't hooked in. Duh. Okay, so it should just run as soon as I plug it in. Beautiful. Ooh, that is a good speed on that too. I'm okay with that middle one. Ooh, I'm probably gonna have to tighten that spring up some more though. Okay, now this is where our motor connections are happening. This is off of our switch down here. Yeah, you can see it in the film or frame. This switch right here. This is how you turn on the bandsaw. So you turn it on like that as it comes down. Once it cuts through your piece, then it shuts it off like that. So this is just a one-pole switch, so we just have to bring the hot out there. So we'll leave the neutral in here, but instead of the hot tying onto the motor windings, the hot is going to tie to one of these leads coming off of our little cord here. That's going to go through this cord into the switch, come back on the switch to this other lead here. And then from here, it'll go to the motor windings. What that does, instead of it just going hot, neutral, ground straight to the motor, it'll be ground and neutral going straight to the motor, but that hot is going to go through this switch back here first. That way you can control it instead of just having to plug and unplug that cord to start your motor. So we should be able to just run into this. Okay, run inside. Okay, we should just be able to run into this right here. Run into this hole, and then behind this plate should be where our connections are. I do have the right fittings for this. They're just over in the house. Maybe I should go grab them. I could just stick it in right there. Maybe. I don't know, actually. This is a pretty tight cord. Anyways, I'm going to mess with this for just a second, and then I'll come back and show you what's going on. This is the neutral right here. Okay, you can kind of tell what's going on here. Right here. So I got the one lead that goes straight to the motor off of my cord. And then I have, this is our appliance cord plugging into the wall. And then I just added a spade terminal on my cord going over to that switch. So I broke the hot right here. It'll come in through this cord, back to the switch like I talked about, back on this cord, and then it lands on our motor. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to get all this smashed in here and so it's not going to short out on anything. I'm going to use one there. It'll fit, but it's just going to take a second. So that's how it's set up. For its maiden voyage, we're going to shave off a chunk from this adapter that was on here before. So we're going to raise this up. I'm going to get it all set up in here. I'm going to clamp her down. Okay, my switch is turned off currently. We'll plug it in. Okay. Now we'll turn it on. Actually, I'm going to put some glasses on. Now we'll turn it on. So far, so good. Okay, now we're going to lower it. And it should stop on its own. Hey, watch out, watch out. There's a belt. We don't want to get wrapped up in it. Look at that. It shut it off. And it cut off our piece of angle iron. Look at that. So the parts came from this. Neighbor gave this to me for free. This motor right here came from a $10 part shelf I got at an auction with a bunch of tractors last summer. This stand came with my neighbor's new bandsaw that he gave us. So all in all, I guess I have $7 because of this belt. I've more than made my money back off that shelf of parts, so I don't count that $10 towards anything anymore. So $7 for a new belt, and we got a bandsaw up and going. Be a great addition to our shop. So thank you for watching another episode of Tractor Roy. Hope you enjoyed it. This is a little bit different than what we do usually. Usually it's engines, equipment, and stuff like that. But this is going to play a big part in fabrication of fixing some of the stuff we got laying around. So it just seemed like a good time to do it. So do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, throw a comment down below, subscribe if you're not, and I hope I'll catch you on the next one.